now Democratic Senator from Delaware, Chris Coons, who sits on both the Senate Foreign Relations and Judiciary Committees. Senator, I want to get your reaction to this breaking news. Just crossing here from the Washington Post. They have 5 sources briefed on the request, saying that the President of the United States is now under personal investigation by Special Counsel Bob Mueller for possible obstruction of justice. Your reaction?
Well, Aaron, this is a very stunning development. There were certainly hints and allegations in the previous testimony before Senate committees by fired FBI Director Comey, by acting Attorney General for this matter, Rosenstein, that there might be some reason for there to be a broader investigation. But this report in the Washington Post this evening suggests strongly, given 5 different sources, that the scope of the investigation has changed since the firing of the FBI director and is now targeted directly at the president and his actions, which may amount to obstruction of justice.
And does this make you more likely as a member of the Judiciary Committee to think that obstruction of justice was committed when you put all this together, or do you still think that it's too early to draw a conclusion?
I think it's too early to draw a conclusion. There's certainly lots of smoke here. There have been lots of concerning, even alarming stories from FBI Director Comey about what led up to his private meeting with the president, where he urged him to drop the investigation into former National Security Advisor, the meeting where he asked for his personal loyalty. I'm very glad that Bob Mueller is a special counsel, and I'm glad that yesterday we heard directly from Rod Rosenstein that he will continue to have the resources and the independence he needs to pursue this investigation to its conclusion.
So in this Washington Post report, they say, right, it wasn't just Comey who was asked to stop the investigation into General Michael Flynn. They talk about these other times that the president asked this of both the director of national intelligence and the head of the National Security Agency, Mike Rogers. So let me ask you this, because when the president called Mr. Rogers and asked him to issue a public statement saying, look, there's no evidence of any sort of coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. Rogers and Coates, he also got a phone call, they refused to do so. Now then, Rogers' deputy, Mr. Leggett, went back and wrote a memo because he thought this was important. He wrote a memo, he wanted to document it. That obviously makes us think of Jim Comey and how he wrote a memo. But I want to ask you this, because the NSA director, Mike Rogers, testified last week on Capitol Hill, Senator, and he was asked directly, did you ever feel pressure to act improperly, which would, of course, appear to fit right with this phone call, right? He did answer that question. Here's what he said.
In the 3+ years that I have been the director of the National Security Agency, to the best of my recollection, I have never been directed to do anything I believe to be illegal, immoral, unethical, or inappropriate. And to the best of my recollection, during that same period of service, I do not recall ever feeling pressured to do so.
So, I mean, he's saying, obviously, somebody felt something because there was a memo, right? And he was asked to deny the existence of any evidence of coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. That's what he was asked to do, and he refused to do it. Do you think that he perceived that request was not illegal, immoral, unethical, or inappropriate?
Well, Aaron, that's one possible way to square his answer in front of the committee with that understanding of his conversation. This is why I'm glad there is a highly competent, independent special counsel who's going to be able to take sworn testimony about this matter, because there seems to be such a real gap between what we understand to have been the conversations between the president, the director of national intelligence, and the head of the NSA, and the answers that they gave in front of a committee in testimony. This is a very difficult, very important matter, and I'm really glad we've got the opportunity now to get to the bottom of it promptly.
This is obviously a stunning development. The president does not seem to be in any way aware that he is under personal investigation until this story broke, and it's something we all know he is going to care deeply about. His spokesman, a spokesman for his private attorney, Mark Kasowitz, right, who's handling all things Russia for the president, said in response to the Washington Post report, and I quote, "The FBI leak of information regarding the president is outrageous, inexcusable, and illegal." Does he have a point? Is he right? Should we know this from leaks?
It's not clear that this leak is from the FBI. I'll just point that out. But it is important that we continue to respect that classified information, that information about the ongoing conduct of this investigation shouldn't be leaked. I trust Bob Mueller. I trust the special counsel. And I think it's important that all of us oppose illegal or unethical leaking and instead say we should wait for this investigation to reach its appropriate conclusion.
All right, Senator Coons, I thank you very much for being with me tonight.